Uh, all right. Okay. So, welcome to Rich and Feminine Rebirth Challenge. I am really excited. I'm going to explain to you guys why did I decide to do this challenge and why now? Because I think it's really interesting. And today we're going to be talking mostly about awakenings because what we're going to be doing during the challenge is going to be related to your soul. One of the things that for me has been the most clear lately is how everything is changing towards the direction of we have to stay aligned with our soul. With the AI coming, with everything changing, with social media, with jobs changing, with all of the things that are changing in the world, the soul is the compass. And I wanted to redo a new challenge because I've done a few challenges in the past. The first challenge I've done was 5 days to 5K. I'm not sure if anyone here has been to that one. We had over 1,000 participants. By the time I retired it was ongoing for a while. And then I did the 10 days to 10K challenge, which was similar but a better version of the first one. And we had people hitting like $20,000 in 10 days. We had people hitting the $10,000 within a few days of starting the challenge. It was a really amazing thing. And with both challenges, what I've noticed the most is how when someone actually does the thing that I teach, when they do the exercises, when they take action, when they trust, when they don't only choose which one they feel comfortable with and they don't do the things that they're uncomfortable with, they see massive results, they see momentum, they see things that are amazing in their business and in their lives. Like a lot of people attracted a lot of opportunities. They were doing like a low ticket offer in their challenge and they ended up attracting high ticket clients that came out of nowhere because of the content that I made them do. So a lot of things happened during those challenges. And this one that I'm doing now, I'm hoping is going to stay available for years as we navigate a lot of changes in the world and a lot of rapid evolution. Because now we actually are on a timeline where things are moving fast. Like I saw a meme this morning of someone, it was said, the only way to keep up with AI is if you're unemployed because things are moving so fast. And it's a little bit similar that what I think is going to work when it comes to personal brands, when it comes to building businesses, when it comes to the future and everything that's going to happen with the changes on the planet, which I broke down for you today in a document. But there's going to be a lot of change. And if we're not focusing on rapid evolution, we're not adapting quickly, we're not feeling tapped in our soul and taking the directions that our soul is taking us. Like if your soul is telling you pivot to pivot, if it tells you hire this person or let go of this person, you need to listen. Like we're gonna have to really take the hints if we want things to move quickly. Let me quickly see the chat. Linda says 10 days to 10K showed me how powerful the method was. Yay! It's gonna be so much better. 10K to 10 days to 10K was amazing. Yay! Already 6 o'clock in Portugal. Very excited for this challenge. These changes are so fast and pivot is what I keep hearing. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about all of that today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna explain to you what we're gonna be doing in the challenge so everyone knows which direction I'm taking you. Because I think if you understand the method that we're taking, it's also gonna help you like trust into every piece of the puzzle and then just lean back and do the things that I give you between the challenge calls and the things that I give you to implement. And then after that, I'm going to explain different types of awakening because I think we need to understand what is a spiritual awakening, what is a personal awakening, and what is a collective awakening because there's one going on right now, and that's what makes a lot of things change, and that's what creates a lot of opportunities. Because if I have a personal awakening, I can create opportunities because I'm changing and then I'm choosing to do things differently. But when the world is going through an awakening, a lot of things will change quickly, and a lot of new needs and new demand is going to be created. So right now, every day, there's more people that are needing things that are related to your soul, and there's less people that are buying from the old paradigm that's currently shifting. So I'm gonna share my screen, and if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'll be sure to look at the chat. I wanted to put my jacket on because it was cold, but now I'm feeling like it's too hot, so I'm gonna take the jacket. Okay, alrighty. Let's get comfortable so we can do hard work. Thank you. I wanted to look like a, a badass, rich and feminine rebirth style, but too hot. I'm too hot to be hot. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So for the replays of the calls, I'm gonna keep them inside the private Telegram community. So you're gonna be able to access the replays there. I'm not gonna send the replays on emails. I'm gonna focus really on the community. So if you haven't joined, because I think there's quite a bit of people that still haven't joined, don't forget to join, because when we send the reminder emails for the calls, we're going to remind you of the calendars that you can subscribe to with the call into your calendar, and then also the Telegram community chat. So that's important. And then the challenge part. So if you're new to how I do things, every call you're going to have challenges to accomplish, whether it's homework, whether it's something to do, whether it's something to post, like there's going to be things that you're going to be challenged into doing. And every time you participate in what the challenge is for that week or between the calls, you're going to want and that's for the replays, and then a section that's for announcement. Now, are you guys hearing me? Because it says my connection is unstable. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Amazing. All right. So today we're going to talk about different types of awakenings and the void. And okay, so in mind, okay. Let me know if ever I go off again. Let me just make sure I'm on the right Wi-Fi. Yeah, okay, I'm on 5G. Okay. So we're going to talk about different types of awakening and the void. And your focus after today is going to be to sit in the void without distraction, to let messages come through. And it's really important that you're doing, I'm going to explain more into details when we get there, but it's important that you do the homework and you do the exercise of sitting in the void, because the messages for everything that's going to come after will happen in the void. Okay. The next call, we're going to talk about how to audit your business when you're ready for things to change. Because I am a big believer that when we're in between transitions or we're ready for something else, we're ready for a quantum leap, we feel like we're on the verge for something great. We feel like maybe there's weight that we've been carrying. We feel like we haven't been feeling ourselves or haven't been feeling excited about work. There's things that we can change so that we can make sure that we feel in alignment. Because a lot of the feelings are misalignment. We are not going in the right direction, and the longer it takes for us to go in the right direction, the harder it becomes to walk, because it's like if it was the right direction, it wouldn't feel this hard. I'm not saying that it's supposed to be easy, because it's not. But there's a difference between an obstacle that shapes you into someone that's stronger and that can hold more pressure and stress, and the problems that comes when you're in a relationship or in a path that's really not for you, and God is telling you like you're in the wrong direction, but you put the GPS on mute and you're not hearing you have to do a U-turn. So that's something that we're going to be talking about. Um, you went a bit glitchy, but good now. Okay. Let me know if it goes back glitchy. Um, okay, so in the third session, we're going to talk about the offer that you're going to be creating with what you've received in the void. So, because you're going to be contemplating your business as it moves forwards inside of the new paradigm, you're also going to get maybe downloads, maybe ideas of things you've been wanting to try, but you feel afraid of. And normally, when I do a cash injection, I make people do the things that is the easiest for them to make money with. And it creates a lot of validation because that's something easy. But this challenge is going to be different because I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable in what you're going to be creating because I truly believe that this is how we find the real path we're supposed to be on. It's by trying things out. And sometimes we don't try things out because we are afraid and we don't have the support to do these things. But because you're going to be in an environment where you're supported, I'm helping you with the marketing, I'm helping you with the packaging, I'm helping you with the energetics, I'm helping you with the identity. There's other people that are doing it at the same time as you. It's going to feel easier, not because it's easier, but because there's more things that are holding you through trying something a little bit different that you know is the right thing, but you've been maybe putting off because it's scary. After the session where we decide what is it that you're going to be building a cash injection offer with, I'm going to do a coaching call where we're going to do clarity about that. So if you have any questions, I'm going to allow people to come on. I'm going to allow questions. I'm going to riff with you to make sure that you actually feel good about what you're going to be launching. I want everyone to feel really good about what they're going to be doing and understand how to do it well. So I'm going to take time before we do it. Once we are all clear, we're going to have a call that's focused on the content and the marketing for that cash injection. And then between the session 5 and 6, we're going to be selling that cash injection. And then on the sixth call, we're going to celebrate what happened during the cash injection time. We're going to tap into what's next. Like if you know that you want to do more than just a cash injection aligned with your soul, I'm gonna help you align your vision with having a seven-figure business with the Too Good to Be True frequency. For those that are not in the Too Good to Be True membership, the Too Good to Be True frequency is something I've created that started as a standard that I set for myself that really changed a lot of things for me. And the more I held that standard into my life, the more I understood that it's like a frequency of it's plugged into so much abundance, but in a way that's so clean and so good for the highest good of the planet and for our highest good as well. I'm also going to be doing a training in the membership. The membership is free, by the way. So if you're not in there, get in there. But I'm also going to be doing a training this week on how I map out my offers, how I focus into what is it that I'm how I choose what I put inside my program, how I decided to do this offer, how I chose everything that would be covered, so that you can also have a behind the scene look into how I make decisions when it comes to mapping out programs and stuff like that to make sure that they are transformational and that people are getting what they need. And I'm also feeling excited about them. So it's going to be a good piece of the puzzle to help you create your own offer. So I highly suggest you join the membership if you're not in there. Okay. Is there any questions regarding what I said so far or the challenge and how it works? If not, I'm going to be starting today's topic. Mhm. Where can we find a link to the membership? I'm gonna drop it there. and it's going to be, I'm going to drop it as well in, you know what? Let me drop it here. Um, okay. Okay. All right. So to make sure we're all on the same page, an awakening is when you're seeing through the illusions of your comfort and knowing that there's no going back. Sometimes it's going to be when you realize that, let's say, a friend or a partner is not the right person for you, and for some reason it just clicked out of nowhere. You didn't see it before, now you're seeing it, and there's no going back. Sometimes it's going to be with your career, what you're doing for a living. Sometimes it's going to be with what you spend your time on. Sometimes it's going to be with how the world is operating, and once you're understanding how it really is operating, there's no go, you can't unsee what you know. There's multiple ways that we will have awakenings throughout our lives. It's a normal process in our evolution, but it's also something that requires us to go through a void. And the void, the best way for me to explain what a void is literally a pregnancy of the next reality, the next identity, the next purpose that you have into your life. It's the cocoon phase when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. And it is a place where you you feel like there's nothing anymore. You feel like you're so disconnected. You're questioning everything. It's like something is dying, but something better and bigger and more beautiful is being birthed. You're just not having evidence of it. If some like, can you imagine the first woman that ever got pregnant? Like how freaky that must have been to be like, my belly is growing and it feels like there's something going on inside of my belly. What the heck? What is this? Like, this is freaky. This is kind of what we're going through when we go through the void and the awakening is like, I don't understand what's going on. Everything feels so hard, disconnected. I don't feel like myself. I question everything. And before understanding that it's taking shape into something beautiful, we can be really afraid or feeling like it's not good, right? And there's multiple things that we can do to help us move through the void faster, to move through the void in a way that is going to be uh, easier to navigate. Let's go through the void. So I had in the past did a lot of research when it comes to the void because every religion, every philosopher's spiritual beliefs all have a period of void. So in philosophy, they call it le néant, which is French, and it means nothingness. And then they describe it as essential for freedom. And it's truly what it is because when we are attached to something and that's connected to comfort zone, that's connected to convenience. For example, if I look at how drive-throughs of fast food got popular, because when I was a kid, that was not really a thing. Like I don't remember going to a drive-through unless we would go to a big city until I was like a teenager. Like it took a long time before it existed. And drive-throughs and junk food is all about convenience. And when you look at it from a without the convenient glasses, is wow, we literally work harder to be able to afford food that are not good for our health that we pick up from a window, so that it allows us to work more because then we don't have to cook. And when you look at it that this way, you're like, this is an awakening. I'm realizing that the society has exchanged convenience in exchange of their health, in exchange of their connection to their family. There's no more we grow our own food. There's no more we make our own bread. There's no more cooking becomes an activity that we do in community. It all becomes, I need to I'm so busy. I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to garden. I don't have time to like I just need to pick something up quickly because I'm hungry. My kid is hungry, and let's make sure that this gets fixed as soon as possible so I can go back to work as soon as possible. I'm like, how is this a good exchange? That's not a good exchange. And this is an awakening. It's like when we're realizing that there's something that is not actually good for us and it's not aligned and it's not on purpose, but it's something that we got sold as something good and realize it's not good. So the void separates humans from being fixed, creating the space where choice and consciousness exist. So the void is where you feel like reality is questioned before you understand how to evolve from it. In Christianity, the void is the dark night of the soul. In Judaism, the void is filled with divine potential, like you're pregnant with potential. In Buddhism, the void leads to liberation. In Hinduism, the void is emptiness, womb-like potential, like pregnancy, a gateway to the infinite. In Islam, we enter the void, the nothingness, to dissolve ego and realize union with God. In modern spirituality, the void is uncomfortable, where old identity has dissolved, but the new has not formed. It is a place of rebirth. In deaf psychology, the void is confrontation with the unconscious, terrifying, and transformative if integrated. The key word here is if integrated. A lot of people will stay in the void way too long because of being afraid, because of not understanding what phase they're in, and then it creates depression, and then it creates chronic illnesses, and then it creates pain, and then it creates a feeling of meaningless. It drives us to be sick and drives us to be depressed. So why do we avoid the void? Is because we're, first of all, afraid of silence. And you can see it with everything, how people are so connected to their phone. They're so addicted to the dopamine they get from interaction that are stimulating. So they when they are off work, they're gonna go get drunk. And then when they're hungover, they're going to order junk food. And then when they're at work, they're going to also be scrolling. And then when they're waiting in line at the drive-thru, they're going to be on their phone. And then when they're spending time with their friends, they're going to be watching videos on YouTube. And then when they're not spending time with their friends, they're going to be watching videos on TikTok and sending it to their friends. And that's how they connect. And there's no time to sit in the void. There's no time to be in the place where you're supposed to be integrating and you're supposed to find the answers of the existential crisis that we go through to evolve. So if you're never spending time to be in silence and you're constantly numbing with your phone, with not being able to be by yourself, so you always have people over, with like eating sugar because of the way it makes you feel, drinking alcohol, doing drugs, anything that people do in order to numb, you're never going to continue evolving because you are stuck in a place where integration cannot happen and you cannot receive the message of what is it that you should be doing next? Where should you be heading next? What is it that's no longer working for you? What habit have you been doing that's keeping you into a place that you feel unfulfilled? Where are you supposed to go? All of these things happens when we are able to sit in silence and allow messages to come through. My most important awakenings always happen when I decided to take time off and go think for spend a few days disconnected. I remember I used to go to my cousin's place when he was away for work, and he had a tree in the middle of his living room because my cousin's a little bit weird. So he has like a weird weird setup of like there's literally a tree in the living room. And I would not bring my computer and I would not bring my phone, and I would just bring journals, and I would be sitting by the tree in the winter, and then I would be journaling and I would be thinking. There's no TV, there's no radio, there's no music, it's just me and myself, and my thought and my soul. And every time I did that, it felt like I would be brand new. And I realized that when I don't feel like myself and I spend time with myself, I find myself again. But if I'm searching for myself through consuming content, through watching courses, even if it makes me feel good, through watching TV to numb, through whatever it is that people do to avoid sitting with themselves, you're delaying finding the answers. Something that I do once a month is I take a day where I don't look at my phone until the next day, like the next day. And that morning is always very strange because I'm used to look at my phone. I have a little bit of FOMO. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I had messages. I wonder, blah, blah, blah. And then the more it goes, the more I surrender to the fact that I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm not going to connect with anyone. I'm not going to turn on my TV today. So I might as well just drop in my body. And as soon as I surrender, I start feeling so inspired that like it just comes through like in waves because I finally turn off the noise that makes me stop hearing the messages. And when I avoid doing that day, that feels uncomfortable because it's we're all addicted to dopamine in some ways. When I avoid doing that, I get disconnected from myself. So I really recommend doing that, and I'm gonna have you do some of that in the challenge. I always quantum leap if I let myself be in the void. It sounds grounding and divine. Yes, yes. So the reason why I'm elaborating on this is because I will ask you to sit in the void. And I know that a lot of excuses are gonna come like, well, I'm busy, well, I have a lot of things already on my agenda. I have a lot of things to do, blah blah blah, like I need to do this, blah blah blah. It's normal that these excuses come in. And if you're able to be like, you know what, there's things that are not that important and I can actually find a way to make time, or I can actually ask my husband to watch the kid and go sleep in a hotel, or go like after the morning routine, ask for, I don't know, babysitter so that I can go at the spa maybe to just bring my journal and spend the day without connection to anything. Like if you're able to find time as much as possible, this challenge is going to be way more successful because you're going to get answers that only you can get inside of yourself. That answers that I cannot give you because they're not going to be aligned. I can help you find the answers and I can help you do exercise that will help you get inspiration, but I cannot find the answers for you because your soul will have to tell you how to find these answers. So other reasons why we avoid or we stay in the void is because we kind of like it kind of becomes a romantic relationship with melancholy. Like it's almost like artistic to be a little bit sad and a little bit blue, and it's like comfortable to listen to Lana Del Rey and to just feel like life is just like this, and like we're tapping in the inner artist. And I know for me that's been something for real. Like I used to write poetry. I used to read Charles Bukowski and just want to stay in that, that state of I'm a artist. I'm an artist that hurts, but it creates art, and I'm like a black widow, and it's just the way I am, and that's how I find inspiration. And eventually, I realized that a lot of poetry is unhealed thoughts and processes. It sounds really beautiful, but if we fall in love with being in that space, we are going to build an identity around being in the void, and it's going to become our lives. And then we cannot say, well, I I cannot evolve, or I can't find my soul calling because my identity is built around the discomfort, and it's like I made it home. So it's been so long that I don't know what anything else, and that's what feels like home. So we have to be careful because that can happen when we're staying in the void. We hold on to what no longer belongs because a lot of time what happens in the void is we realize that there's things that needs to change, and we don't want to make those changes because they're painful or they're scary. And we want to keep the people and we want to keep the habits and we want to keep the things that are not good for us. And because of that, we're choosing to stay in the void over choosing our own evolution. We're avoiding the things that the soul is calling us to do next. So let's say you have a message that's telling you you should be doing this instead, or you should try this, or you should like talk about that. And then we're like, no, but that's too out there. Or that's not what people know me for, or that's not what I'm used to do. And we avoid doing the things and then we create more of the void. We're afraid of what we will lose instead of what we will gain. So a lot of time this is when we're stopping our evolution is because instead of thinking about how amazing it will feel and how it's going to get easier, because when we are aligned with God and with source, depending on your beliefs, God or source is going to send you what is meant for you when you're aligned. But if you're not aligned, you're not going to receive inspiration. You're not going to receive the people. You're not going to receive the messages that come out of nowhere of someone being like, I'm feeling called to work with you because you're not following your calling. So no one is going to feel called to work with you if you're not following the calling. And this is something for me, every time I've been off track, I stopped receiving those messages. And when I was really aligned with my soul and my purpose, then I nonstop I would get people telling me like my guides have told me God has made me feel like I need to hire you. I had a dream and you were my mentor and I think you need to be my mentor. Like it just happened because my frequency made them feel connected to me, and then they just found the money or they found the courage or they found the inspiration and then they started working with me. But then when I would not feel aligned with my purpose, or I would go against what I know I should be doing, or I had a phase last year where I was numbing. I was watching true crime all day long. I was watching war stuff. I was completely discouraged about what's going on in the world. And slowly I stopped believing in my mission and I stopped taking action. And hope is built when we are working on solutions. The minute I stopped working on solutions, it felt like everyone disconnected from me because I'm not on purpose. If they're on purpose, they're going to find a person that's going to be on purpose because they have something to do. It's not going to feel good energetically to work with someone that's not on purpose. So it kind of like paused everything. Like, oh, you want to stay in the void? So stay in the void, but we're not going to send you new people if you're in the void. And I had to do a lot of work. And every time I had a spiritual awakening, I had to do work. So it's not like it just happens once and then you're good. It happens every time you have outgrown your life or outgrown your offers or outgrown your niche or outgrown your business or outgrown your relationship. It always happens. And the more we trust and the more we know that this is a place we're supposed to evolve in and integrate, then that should be our focus, the faster it goes. Another thing that people will stay in the void for is because they're waiting for clarity or to feel different before moving. So if I'm waiting for the green light and I'm supposed to get the green light as I'm moving, I will never feel different. If my car battery is dead, I cannot charge it by waiting for it to be charged. I have to drive, and while you're driving, it charges the battery. So when I don't drive enough, because I don't drive often, and then my car says low battery, I have to go on a cruise of an hour so that it charges, and then I don't have to worry about that. But if I'm like, oh, low battery, let's not use the car, then tomorrow, no battery. So it's the same the way that we're moving. We have to be moving, even if we feel like we're in the void and things are not clear or not sure where to go, we still need to move. We still need to try things. We still need to ask ourselves questions and take action towards the answers that we're getting. We can't expect life to give us the plan while we're waiting. It will come. The person, the thing, the breakthrough comes when we're moving. Sometimes it's just I'm telling myself, you know what, I'm going to work out of a cafe today. And then I'm hearing a conversation from the person sitting next to me. It gives me a breakthrough. I would have never had that breakthrough if I would have not moved and like changed my environment because that's what I felt intuitively I should do. And I would have stayed stuck. So if I don't listen to the little nudge that tells me to join this thing or buy this book or watch this documentary or go on a walk or call this person or go at this place or take a detour, if I don't listen to what my soul is telling me to do, I don't get the clarity. I will not feel different before I move. I need to move and then I will start feeling different. Um, I don't think I've ever had a day off my phone. Well, that's gonna change your life, girl. Motion equals life. Yes. So what happens when you stay in the void too long is that you normalize meaningless living, and that's bringing you into depression. It brings you into mental health roller coaster. It gives us chronic pain, health crisis, addictions. I I am sure that one of the reasons why women have so many chronic problems in their health, and me first, Linda knows what I'm going to be talking about. She's already clapping. I am sure that the reason why is because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and the soul is aching. We're not following the compass. We're not following our intuition. We're continuing to do the things that are not healthy for us, even though we know we're not trying to go find meaning into our lives. We're not questioning if we're on path. And eventually it creates so much pain in our body that it makes us unable to do anything. It's like it stops us from being able to do what we do because what we do is so meaningless that we're not gonna get the health until we figure out why am I getting this pain. For me, every time I had chronic issues in my life, and I've like if you've been in my world, like I had a lot, and I made sure never to attach my identity to feeling sick or having like fibromyalgia because then I will become fibromyalgia. I don't want to become that. I don't want to build a brand of like how to have a business when you have chronic illnesses because then my meaning will be attached to having chronic pain, and I don't think that's what I'm supposed to have. But every time I started feeling like I'm excited about life, I rebuilt that stamina and that energy in my body to be able to pick back up things that are exciting to me. And every time I had periods where I was in the void and I was staying in the void, all of a sudden everything, like all my symptoms started getting worse, and I started having like back issues, and I started having more brain fog, and like I would have more migraines. And it changed when I started focusing on going back on path and doing the things that my soul is telling me, not find comfort into convenience, into productivity, into high performance. For me, I struggled with slowing down because my comfort was built in when I can do a lot of things, when I'm really productive, I feel like I am in control. But that was exchanging my health for tomorrow's energy. And when I realized that, I had to reprogram the chemistry in my brain. And I knew that if I do that, it means that for a while, I'm not going to be able to focus on work. I'm not going to be able to work out. I'm not going to be able to do everything that I do in a day because I'm not going to have the energy while I'm rebuilding the chemistry in my brain. But because I was not doing it, I just felt worse and worse. I would feel even more numb. I would feel even more disconnected from life. And I knew that if I really take a break to rebuild the chemistry in my brain, rather than take medication or rather than take coffee all day long, I know that I will start feeling alive again. So in September, I decided I'm done. I stopped taking medication. I allowed myself to rebuild the chemistry. It was not easy, but when it started feeling good again to be alive, I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I did it." I was so grateful that I took the time to be in the void intentionally, not to stay in the void, but just to allow myself to heal because I got the craziest business idea from allowing myself to be in the void. I'm currently working on building something that um, probably going to tell you by the time of the challenge. Not going to tell you in the first call, but it's really, it's, I don't even know how to describe it. It's crazy, the idea that I had. And I would have never had the idea if it wasn't that I got to a place where I can reconnect to my soul and feel inspired again and started like creating more. And that's the reason why I created this challenge, because I want you to also have the opportunity to feel that rebirth, but to also understand all the phases in the rebirth and take action and learn how to listen to your intuition and your compass and if for you it's easy to connect to your soul, but the business part is hard, the part of like, I don't know how to sell it. I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to sell it. I don't know how to write content that creates the sales. We're also going to be doing this in the challenge. So then this way you have no excuse to build from soul. Okay. So I relate to the burnout of productivity, yet feel so called out with the waiting for clarity in action. You're gonna, I hope every breakthrough and everything that either triggers or make you feel like I know this, but I'm not doing it, and I know I should. I hope everyone that gets these feelings stop delaying, even if it's uncomfortable and even if it's going to give you a temporary setback in some way. So when we're in the void and we create the pregnancy of the I don't want kids, but I've been having a lot of kids through my evolution of new ideas and new business stuff. Um, we have to stay connected to the bigger vision. For me, I had multiple awakenings that I can remember. The first one, I was in finance and I was really not happy with what I was doing. I hated the people I work with. It was all men that were really disrespectful. I would have meetings with potential investors for a company because I was an investment broker, and by the end of the meeting, after I worked so hard to do a presentation, the person would be like, "Well, I'll give you $500,000 if you carry my child." Uh, what? I live like what are you talking about? I'm like selling you shares in a company. Oh my gosh. The number of time that I got back home feeling so angry at men because they were like treating me like I am a product to use. Like they didn't care. They wasted my time. They had no regret with making sure that I spent a whole week working on something and end up not making money because they wouldn't invest. I got people being like, I will only invest if you sleep with me. I will only do this, blah blah blah. And I just realized that the life and business that I had created was really not what I wanted to be in. And I didn't know what to do. Like, if I'm not doing that, what do? I don't know what else to do. And I remember one of my girlfriend told me she was going to yin yoga. I had never done yoga in my life. I thought yin yoga was regular yoga. And I thought that if you do yoga, you have to be like a hippie that smells like patchouli and that doesn't shave. Like that was like my stereotype of yoga. Like I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like yoga because I work out in the gym, like I'm a strength training type of person. And then I went to yin. She didn't like it, and I fell in love with the process. And my first yin yoga session was what triggered my first awakening because the way I felt when I was surrendered on the mat, the I felt so good in my body and I had never felt that way. And I was like, what the heck is this feeling? Like I have never felt this way in my life. Is this what paradise feels like? Why am I feeling so good? And after that yin yoga, I decided to go to Australia, go do yoga with one of my girlfriend there. I remember telling my boyfriend at the time that I had to go, I had to like go and figure my life out. And I went to Australia. And I remember when he dropped me off at the airport, he was sad because he knew, I guess he knew that something would change because I was in a moment where I could not go back to what I was doing and I didn't know where I was going. So the future was really unsafe for him. And he was right because everything changed after that trip to Australia. And when I went to Australia, I was going back home, but I still didn't have clarity. I literally just changed environment and I still didn't know what I was supposed to do. And on the last maybe 2, 3 days in Australia, I lost my passport. And because I didn't have a job, I didn't have a residence, because I was living off Airbnbs for many years, I couldn't get a new passport because I couldn't prove my identity, and I didn't have the identity card access. I didn't have birth certificate access because it was in a storage. I couldn't access anything, and I ended up spending many more weeks in Australia by myself, and that's when I figured it out because then I was like, okay, I bought my first online course and I started studying for marketing. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it in a different way that I did before because I had a marketing business before, but it was not coming from what I wanted to do. It was more coming from what I know I can do. And I started being interested into doing something that came from my soul for the first time. But then I had another awakening a few years later. My business was going great. I was making maybe $300,000 a year with courses and stuff. But then I discovered energetics. And I all of a sudden had the biggest ego death of everything I built is so rooted in the masculine paradigm. And now I see how the masculine paradigm is unhealthy. And now I cannot continue selling what I sell because it is no longer what I can get behind. But I'm not a professional person that speaks about energetics. So I had this feeling of now I'm not good enough for what I believe in. And what I created is not good enough for what I believe in. So what do I do? And it was a really painful few weeks of what do I do with everything that I've built because I no longer want to do that. And what I did is I spent a few weeks not working and just focusing on being in my feminine energy until I understood feminine energetics enough to bring them into what I've created and turn everything I've created into something more feminine because I knew that what I created in terms of like funnels, in terms of marketing and copy, in terms of offers and scaling strategy, everything was good, but it needed the feminine energetics in there. And then I just changed my business so that it was the meeting of strategy and energetics into the same place. And then that's when it started feeling good again to be in business. But it really caused a big ego death to be in that place. And then I went through another awakening when I achieved everything that was on my bucket list, I guess. Everything that I wanted to create, I did. I hit my income goals. I wanted a Porsche, I got it. I wanted to make millions, I did it. I wanted to be in Forbes, I got it. Everything that I wanted, I got. And when I was done manifesting or attracting or creating everything that I wanted, I had a big phase that lasted many years of I don't know what to do next. I know that I love what I do, But it's very bizarre when you don't have anything that brings you towards what is it that is next. Because now I didn't have ambition anymore. And who am I without ambition? Who am I? Like, you cannot fake your way into a goal. So I could have a goal. Well, now if I can have a goal to make 100 millions, but I don't give a damn about 100 millions. So I cannot start being excited about a goal that does not resonate with me. And nothing resonated. And I kept like asking myself, like, I don't want a nicer car. I have my dream car. I love my car. I don't want another one. I don't want a faster one. I don't want a more expensive one. Like nothing I wanted was left to get. And that was so weird because it was the duality of I'm grateful for everything, but now I don't feel like my life matters anymore because my meaning has kind of stopped when I stopped walking. And the longer I stayed in that phase, the worse it got because I started feeling very disconnected from my human life. And that was extremely hard. And I'm just now this year starting to rebuild what I want to see next and one piece at a time. Like I told you guys, I'm very excited about what I've been working on. But it took a long time to have a goal that made me excited. And the things that I'm building right now is so multidimensional. It has nothing to do with my human. It's like I connected to something way bigger than me because I allowed my soul to find the next thing, even though my ego was not going to be a part of the conversation. So the third awakening was hard, and then the fourth awakening, which happened in I guess 2025 as well, is when I realized how the world was led, how political parties are not good, how there's no side that's good, how corrupted exists everywhere, how everything that I thought was normal was not normal. And when you go through that type of awakening and you lose trust into a lot of things that were built and you lose trust in a lot of things that made you feel safe, it also makes you go through a really difficult void because now where's my comfort? I cannot change the whole world, and I know the whole world is not going in the right direction. It's very painful. And I had to really work in that fourth awakening into what is it that I have into vision because people are like talking about things that are so negative right now. They're talking about agendas, they're talking about the Epstein files, they're talking about the wars, they're talking about politicians and a lot of things that are very low vibration and um, very toxic and very corrupted. And that's creating more of the same. So when I realized that as long as I continue focusing on what I now know about the world that's wrong, that a lot of people already knew, but for me, I didn't, I guess, wanted to see everything that is now available, and I was just focusing on what I can control. But then I realized I also play a part in this because if I do not object, if I consent to things being done on the planet because I don't care about it, because it doesn't affect me, it continues to happen and I am a part of it. So I started researching how do we change the collective timeline? What do we do in our vibration that makes it happen? And I started understanding I have more power into the situation than I thought, and we have more power as a collective to change the things than I thought. So it gave me so much hope, and then it gave me more meaning because now that I understand how to change it, I can start working on the solution. And that's where hope is created. Like I said at the beginning, hope gets created when we're working on the solution of what made us awake, whether the solution is to change who we are because it's a personal awakening, whether our solution is to work on what we're supposed to do on the planet, which is the spiritual awakening, or whether it's how to change the world in a certain way to create a ripple when it's a collective awakening. So the personal awakening, and if you have to go because it's been an hour, uh, don't worry, I'm not mad at you. The personal awakening is about our identity. The spiritual awakening is about the reason why we're here. It's our why. And then the personal awakening is our who. And then a collective awakening is a paradigm shift. So I'm going to explain to you the difference. When your identity collapses because you realize that who you are is not a match for what you want to create in your life, who you've been hanging around, what you've been doing as a job. When you realize that you've outgrown the life that you're in, that things need to change for you to be happy, the void feels like the death of your identity. That's where you ask yourself question regarding your standards, regarding your boundaries, regarding what you spend your time on, like shadow work into why have I created this? Because life is a result of our choices. So everything we have today is a result of the choices we've done in the past. If we've done choices from an identity that no longer aligns with who we're becoming or who we are, we have to make sure that we're working on making better choices. So that's what happens in a personal awakening. In a spiritual awakening, it's when you're realizing that you're more than just your human body, you have a consciousness. It's when you realize that maybe there's more meaning to life than you thought. You start questioning life. That's when you start, people will either change religion or they will join a religion or they will leave a religion because it no longer feels aligned, because there's something that they realize about the way they've been conditioned that is not the answers for them. It's not the truth. My personal opinion when it comes to spiritual beliefs is that they're all the religions are all truth. And we're not supposed to all have the same truth because then it would not create duality on the planet. We're supposed to accept ourselves with different truth. And I truly believe that our soul knows which religion resonates with us, if any, and what resonates with us. We know deep down inside of us what is feeling in alignment. What is feeling in alignment to me might not be what feels in alignment to the other person, and there's so much beauty in that. And when I started realizing that, I healed the trauma I had around religion because it's no longer, my mom was very Christian. My dad is doesn't believe in anything. I have a lot of Muslim friends. I have a lot of Jewish guys I've dated. Zayn, Sikh, like I've been around all of the cultures and the religions, and I saw so much beauty in everyone. And when I thought I had to choose one truth for the world and it had to be the truth, I realized I cannot. I can't find that because that's not, it's my truth is not the truth of most people. And when you have a spiritual awakening, it's when you actually find your truth, not the truth of what society tells you to believe in or what your parents told you to believe in, but the truth that you're supposed to resonate with. And you start creating a relationship with your consciousness, with your gifts, with God, with source, with whatever it is that you feel connected to. That's when you find your purpose. That's when you find what you're supposed to be doing here, because it becomes bigger than you. So in the void of the spiritual awakening, our ego dies, not our identity, our ego, which is a little bit different because our identity is who we are right now, and our ego is the part of us that needs to be right and the part of us that thinks that it has all the question. And then we realize that we don't has all the answers, and we realize that we don't have all the answers. And we accept that and we focus on finding our truth. And then the collective awakening is when there's a paradigm shift. When people start understanding that a two-party system in politics is very flawed, when people are seeing corruption and manipulation in society, when we realize that there's something that's not making sense with how there's a lot of rich people and there's a lot of poor people, and there's something that doesn't feel very fair in the way that people are paying taxes when they're extremely rich and when they're not. Like that's when we start seeing that things are not working for the best of everyone. And when we go through a collective awakening, that's when we have a death in our reality, the paradigm shift. Right now, we are in a paradigm shift. And what is very complicated in the paradigm shift is that everyone is in a void in some way. People are questioning which politician is right and which one actually is the good one. People are questioning what they've been taught in history books. They're questioning what others are believing in. They're questioning systems in banking and in stock market and money. They're questioning a lot of things. They're losing trust. They're mad. There's so much going on in that void. And because we're in the middle of a paradigm shift, it means that a lot of things are currently dying. They're collapsing, they're falling apart, and a lot of things are being birthed. But when we're in the middle, when we're in the transition, it's very difficult to know what are we supposed to be spending our energy on, because what if it doesn't exist in the next paradigm? Like a lot of people are saying money is not going to exist in a few years, but it exists now. And yes, we want to build a life that's going to work for forever. Like you don't build a business to think in 2 years I'm going to have to not work because money is not going to exist anymore. You can't just decide, well, if it's not going to happen in the future, what's the point? Because you're not in the future, you're in right now. And it's very difficult to understand what to do when we're in the middle of the paradigm shift, because we don't know what's going to happen next for sure. We don't know when. A lot of people are speculating. They're trying to predict when is something going to happen and when is something going to happen. And is it like the end of this and is it the end of that? We don't know. We're focusing too much energy into being in the void with the rest of the world rather than build whatever it is that we're supposed to be during the paradigm shift. Not focusing on what is it that I'm meant to be in the new world that's being built. It's focusing on what am I meant to do during the collective shift? What am I meant to help people with right now? What am I meant to talk about now? What am I meant to spend my energy on now? That is what is important to do, not try to work for the future, to really be in the moment of this is what is needed now, because the reality is you want the money now. You don't want the money later. So if you want the money now, don't try to fix later and be afraid of later. Focus on what is going on now. So we're going to talk about the current paradigm shift, and then I'm going to walk you through the homeworks for today. So what is collapsing right now with the paradigm shift we're going through? The systems of government, jobs, and institutions, the following the rules and trusting that the government has our back, and people are realizing that things can change through one day of news, through one tweet. Now the stock market changes with one tweet. Like we are not in control, and we have never been. The old paradigm told you to trust religion and not to question anything and not to trust yourself. And now we're realizing that some people that have been preaching may not have the best interest and may not have been following exactly the gospel. The identity that's built on survival, sacrifice, and fitting in. You have to work hard to make money, and that's the only way. And that's how it was for so long. Like if I look at my Like it, workers used to work in fields and in manufacturers, and like they used to work so hard to make a living, to bring money at home while their wives was working hard to raise kids and clean and do the food and grow the food and all the things. And it was true that I was working hard in exchange of success. You couldn't get away with not working hard. But now things have changed because of technology. When we didn't have technology, we had to work hard. But now technology and robots and AI is changing so many things that makes it that a lot of things that used to be hard no longer needs to be done by human beings. So it changes the paradigm. Like the fact that we can make money through thought leadership and through content and through YouTube videos, while in the past you could make money speaking as a professor in a university after having a lot of experience in studying a certain field. It no longer is about hard work. Now it's going to be about soul aligned work. So in the new paradigm, it's going to be focusing on what is good for the world. People are going to start working, voting with their money or their currency, depending on what happens then. People are going to encourage businesses they believe in, not big corporations. We already see the shift. Like people have been doing like boycotts of companies when they do a move that they don't feel aligned with. People are coming together to make differences into the economy and into the world as we're living. Like people are going in the street to protest because they don't want to conform when they realize that something is actually not for the greatest good of all. It's no longer about being a hard worker and being happy about your retirement plan. It's been changing slowly for years and it's going to continue to change for years. But the personal brands, the people who work on the skills that is not about time, it's about your alignment, it's about your gift, is going to be what people are focusing on. It's no longer going to work the same way. And in the middle, we have to find purpose. If you guys have any question, drop it in the chat while I speak. So for those who don't know about human design, I'm not gonna go deep into, yay, I'm glad that you're loving it. I'm not gonna go deep into the topic of human design, but for those who don't know, human design is a science that's very similar to astrology, and that also has it also studies how with the planets and with the transit in astrology how things change. And from the year 1600 until 2027, we were in a era which was called the cross of planning. And the themes of that era is the systems, agreements, supports structure, and it built everything that we have right now. It built retirement income. It built the educational system. It built the governments. It built the hierarchies in work. It built everything that we have had since the year 1615. Now, as of 2027, we move into another 400-year gate, which is the cross of sleeping phoenix. And that period, that cycle of time is going to be about individual power, reliance, identity-based living, rapid evolution of self, which means that things are no longer going to work with the same structures and hierarchies, and it's no longer going to be working the same way. It's no longer going to be like full-on patriarchy. It's going to be more individual. It's going to be more about who you are. It's going to be more about integrity. It's going to be more about consciousness. It's going to be more about your emotional stability and energetics. And because of that, a lot of needs are going to change. People are afraid because, like, let's say with AI, there's a lot of jobs that are going like being obsolete. Like all of a sudden, thousands and thousands of people are losing their job because AI can do their job cheaper, faster, and better. It is true that this is going to happen a lot, but it is also true that there's going to be a lot more needs created. There's going to be industries that didn't exist that are going to be birthed. There's going to be, everything is going to look different, and it doesn't mean that what we have will not be replaced. It will be replaced in a certain way. We don't know exactly how it's going to be, and it's going to last for many years, the transition. So if we're stopping to think, well, this is no longer working because this was in the old cycle, and I'm just going to wait for the new cycle to be here before I make a move, it might not happen during our lifetime to really see a big difference. But we have to be aware that when we're building, it has to be in alignment with where the world is going. It has to be in alignment with, it has to be good for the planet. It has to be true to what we feel called to do. It has to be something that we want to do. It has to be in alignment with who we are as a person. It can no longer be just about making money and like investing in the old system. It's gonna need to be about you and about who you are and about what is it that you're meant to be doing and what is it that you want to be doing on the planet. So that's the reason why in the Rich and Feminine Rebirth, I am focusing on aligned to your soul, not just making money, because the skill of making money might no longer be what people are focusing on. But if you know what is it that you're supposed to be doing, because that's what your soul is calling you to do, you will not struggle because you're going to enter the frequency where things are already working. So when we are changing paradigm, we are we change timelines. And when you're on the timeline where it's already working, because you're already aligned to your soul mission, you're already aligned to what you're supposed to be doing, you're already aligned to what is it that your soul is telling you to do right now, you're not going to struggle because you're going to be already in the timeline where things are easy. When people come to you, when people feel like you are up to something, when people resonate with this is what feels like truth to me, when people are like, I don't know why, but this person is the person I want to work with, because you are going to be choosing to build from the new timeline. So you don't need to see things being changed physically before deciding to already be on the other timeline. The only difference is that you are still going to be using some of the old system while the new systems are being created through the transition of many, many, many years to adapt. So in your homework, what you're going to be doing until next call, and our call is when is it? I think Friday. Let me just make sure I'm not saying something. Yeah, so on Friday we're gonna start talking about your business when it comes to changes to align to the timeline where abundance lives on. But until then, I want you to focus on being in the void and try to consume the least possible of anything that is not necessary for you to consume. So it means try to scroll the least amount possible. Try to numb the least amount possible. Try to consume only what you need to consume. No spiritual bypassing, no watching TV mindlessly, no trying to plug in the time where you're spending alone and contemplating with something that's going to shift your frequency. A little bit like what I did when I stopped taking medication and I learned what is my baseline. How do I feel when I'm not on medication and I'm not taking coffee and I'm not taking supplements and I'm just with the brain capacity that I have, so that I know what is it that I'm working with and I'm not being influenced with anything else that's altering how I'm feeling for reals. So I want you to focus as much as possible and think about how is it going to look like for you, whether it is that in the morning, the first 3 hours, it's time for contemplation and that's it. No turning on the phone, no talking to people. If you have people living with you, it's going to be different, but That's why I give many options. Maybe it's the evening. You're gonna have, I don't know. For me, I call this time with God, and I spend a few hours with God in the evening, and I put binaural beats that are healing or sound healing music, and I don't do anything. And sometimes I'm gonna read the Bible or some scriptures, and then sometimes I'm going to listen to Quran, or I'm gonna look at different prompts that are saying the same thing in different books, and I'm going to be researching what it feels like and what it means to me. But the time with God for me is a way to really reconnect to spiritual meaning and to understand life. If you're doing it as you're doing a consumption fast, try not to read scriptures though. But the time with God for me is my practice to reconnect with myself. And I spend a lot of hours just sitting, and I do legs up the wall. So I put my legs up the wall because it helps with your nervous system. And I just sit in the void. I stay in the void. You could maybe do a weekend where you're choosing to do that. It could be that one day a week you're committing to doing that. Um, Whatever feels right for you, but I really want you to try to be in the void as much as possible. When we start being in the void, it's only when we surrender to being in the void that the messages come through. So if you're thinking like the first hour of the day, I'm not going to look at my phone, might not be enough for you to tap into anything, because there's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do until you can turn on your phone, and not enough to sit in the void. If you're sitting in the void, there's no productivity, like there's no cleaning or showering or getting ready or cooking. Like you have to be in the void for this to work. And if you're lucky, like Shaby that's here that lives near the ocean, you can actually go outside and do sit in the void while getting a tan, even though it's not doing anything at the same time. Um, and I want you to contemplate on what arises when there's nothing to do. What comes up for you when you're not doing anything? Then I provided a lot of journaling prompts for different reasons: for clarity, for identity, emotional truth, pattern recognition, future self vision, rebirth declaration. So, this is also something if you want to maybe um, you're going on a walk every day and you're thinking about one prompt, could be something. It could be that you're during the day that you're not doing anything, you have an hour where you journal after spending a while in the void not doing anything. Like I want you to focus on receiving as much as possible, and receiving that connection so that um, you get in relationship with your soul, because we're going to be moving towards you asking your soul and God question when it comes to what is it that you're going to be doing next. I also added a cord cutting ritual. So if you have never done cord cutting and you get answers inside of the journaling that makes you feel like a relationship, I want to let go of it. Maybe a past relationship that's no longer into your life, but that still feels like it drains your energy because you think about it a lot or you dream about it. Whether it is because you want to renew, like I like to do cord cutting in a way that even with the people I speak to every day, I cut cord and then I reconnect so that the energy is clean in the cords. I find it very, very powerful to do cord cutting, and it feels loving towards me when I do cord cutting. So I put an exercise that you can do when you're choosing to do your rebirth with all of the steps on how I do it. And I'm gonna leave it in there. And then for my kind of homework, yeah. Oh, two. Amazing. Oh, wow. What a way to finish what I was saying for today at 222. That's amazing. And then your challenge inside of the the Telegram's channel is going to be to share what came through during your time in the void. Like if you had breakthroughs, if you have multiple, you can share multiple times until our next call. I want you to tell me like if something came through, if you had a breakthrough, if you realized something. Like I want you to share with me what did the void teach you if you're able to do that exercise. And I'm excited to see what comes through. I do that like reset every year on the. I didn't do it last year because I was still in the not disconnected type of way. But what I normally do on the 31st of December every year is I don't open my phone when I wake up on the 31st until I wake up on the 1st of January. And I spend the entire day reflecting about my year and then seeing what comes through for the next year. And every time it's the type of day where everything changes. Like the energy is incredible that I start my year in. And you don't have to wait for January 1st to do something like this. You can decide that you're going to go spend enough time with yourself, not consuming anything to let the messages come through. So I'm glad you guys are happy. I knew this challenge was going to be amazing. Yay! Such magic timing. Our son moves away to Europe, changing mother identity. Oh my gosh, I love it. So epic. I can feel it already. This was so activating. Yay! I'm so glad. So I'm gonna be dropping in our Telegram the link of the document that I shared today, and I will be seeing you on our next call. Thank you for coming. Hold on. Can it be something that's been on mind for a long time, or should it be something completely new? It has to be what is it that you are receiving in the void. So if you want to contemplate what's been on your mind and sit in the void for a day with that and see what comes through, and then you want to come share what happened, yes, but don't tell me anything that comes from breakthrough of the past. It has to be something that was received in the void because I want to see what frequency is gonna drop in when you're in the void. Okay. So we'll see you on Friday and in the Telegram in the meantime. Have a good day. Bye.